he who has health has hope, and who has hope has everything. Ironman, what's the story?
So you have to earn this t-shirt, you can't buy it.
I need 8-pack abs. How did this happen?
So realize that Cyres, you become grossly obese, you're 95 kilos. You can't be telling patients to be fit and looking like a blob yourself. So I said that in 6 months, I will get an 8-pack. So for us, partying and staying out late at night is not fun. Going for a cycle ride in the morning or going to the range to shoot is more fun. But when you're physically fit, 20 surgeries go by like a breeze. And I said, I want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. As you see, it didn't happen, and I became a surgeon instead. But those fitness habits stay with you forever. Sleep is a very important and underrated component of fitness.
This means that nearly 1 in 2 children in urban India will have this disease called myopia.
If you see flashes of light which looks like a Diwali sparkler, go to your eye doctor or ophthalmologist immediately. Always wear dark glasses in sun. I might sign a form saying that I'll donate my eyes, but when I'm dead, who's there to ensure I can't come back? When you have very high blood pressure, your vision can permanently reduce. So blood pressure and diabetes must always be controlled.
Smile surgeries.
Real deal?
What I mean to say is, yeah,
Does it
that's
work?
the real deal.
Yeah.
Yes, does
So,
it work?
glaucoma has become a public health problem in India. Statistics show that 7 to 9% of the population will at some time or the other develop glaucoma.
Top myths in your profession that you have seen people selling.
Whole drama about the blue light affecting the eyes is a bit overhyped.
Well, as they say, the starting point of all achievement is desire. This was said by Napoleon Hill. And today I sat down with a man who embodies that desire, truly, not just to succeed, but to uplift, to transform, and to serve. He wears many hats: doctor, athlete, author, Ironman, but more than anything, he wears his humility and humanity on his sleeve. He's the man who helps people literally see the world better and smiles while doing it. A national level shooter, a cyclist, a bodybuilder with 8-pack abs at 50. Would you believe that? An Ironman competitor in 2024, a man who has redefined what's possible physically, mentally, and professionally. This episode isn't just about eyes, it's about vision. Let's meet the incredible Dr. Cyres K. Mehta right here on the PVT Show.
Welcome, Dr. Mehta. Welcome to the PVT Show, where we have conversations that truly energize one's mind. And I am very, very excited because for this very special podcast that we are doing, first time with a doctor, and that too a doctor of his stature, we will be having conversations that will first energize the body. Are you ready for it, Doc?
Absolutely ready. And thanks very much for having me on your show.
Absolutely, our pleasure. Ironman, what's the story?
You know, I came for this show wearing this t-shirt today. And this is very dear to me because this t-shirt you can't buy. You get this t-shirt after you finish the Ironman. So you have to actually do the swimming or running or cycling or all of them together. And then at the end of the race, on the finish line, they give you this t-shirt. So you have to earn this t-shirt. You can't buy it.
Doc, what is the man mission and mindset here? You know, it is said that he who has health has hope, and who has hope has everything. You're 50. I'm not getting into specifics of 50 plus how many years, but then what's in your head? Like Ironman? Really?
You know,
how did you train for it?
Yeah, coming to this, I want to point out something which is very important. That we all have so many problems in life. And they mean so much to us. We get up in the morning when we have 100 different worries. How's my career going? What's going to happen with this? Why don't I have a better car? And things like that. But the minute your health goes bad, you forget everything and you only bother about your health. You forget all your other problems. They all become secondary. So today, health is paramount. If you're not going to take care of your health, if you're not healthy, all the other stuff pales into insignificance. And this is what we got to remember. And that's why every year, at the beginning of the year, I decide, what am I going to do this year? And at the end of the year, there has to be a report card. Like a kid comes home from school and he said, I wrote very well in the exam until the report card comes out, and then we see what he's been doing. So I make a plan at the beginning of the year, and at the beginning of last year, I made a plan that I will achieve a certain standard in shooting and I will be Ironman. And at the end of year, my report card was pretty good. I had more than 2 gold medals in national level shooting competitions, and I was Ironman.
Congratulations. How do you prepare for becoming, I mean, it's very much evident that it's Ironman. and we could also see that you were at pink of your health. How do you prepare for this? How difficult or easy it is to prepare for Ironman?
Everything is easy if you plan well in advance and work hard enough. You have to have a plan. You can't just get up in the morning and randomly run or cycle or do stuff like that.
Yeah.
There has to be a graded program. So you have to decide that in the race, I have to cycle 90 kilometers because this is the Ironman relay and I did the cycling part. So you have to build up to cycling that 90 kilometers in a specific time period.
Sure.
So you cannot sit in the first morning and say, I'm going to cycle 90 kilometers. You can't do it. So if you give yourself 4 or 5 months and you have a proper structured training program, you can certainly do it. It only looks difficult. It's really not.
What would you tell the busy professionals, especially from the corporate world, who say that it is very difficult to find time for health? How do you do this? I know you are one of the busiest doctors. The who's who would be coming to you for their eyes to get fine. We'll come to that part later. But how do you find time? How do you manage
Get up
time?
early in the morning.
What's your schedule like?
So my schedule when I was training for Ironman, I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I would finish my cycling training. Then I would do my weight training in the gym, which is very important because if you don't do the weight training, you don't train all the supporting muscles.
Yeah.
And just by doing one activity, you're not going to necessarily get better at it. So if you don't train for strength as well, you don't train all the supporting muscles, you won't get better at it. So there was a certain amount of time I spent an hour or hour and a half a day weight training as well, besides my 1.5 or 2 hours on the bike. And then I would go to my regular operation theatre and do my regular list, see patients the rest of the day and sleep early. So you have to forget about staying out till 1 o'clock in the morning, drinking, smoking. This is stuff I've never done. So this makes a difference because when you're 53 or 54 like me and you've never drunk or smoked, the body is better metabolically.
Correct.
Because it hasn't wasted its energy purging all these toxins. So you recover much faster and you recover like a younger person.
But Doc, yours is like the perfect life. For normal public, for people who are office goers, we're so stressed at work that for us the release is okay, Friday night, we are partying, we want to have good time with friends and family. What is the ideal way of being healthy?
So, how does a doctor like me de-stress? So you got to do the things you like. I like to shoot. So going to the range for me is not a task or like a punishment. कि आपको करना ही पड़ेगा. I like doing it. So that's how I de-stress. Cycling for me is de-stress. I have an indoor trainer. I can watch TV. I can watch a movie. And my kids like doing the same things. My family and my wife likes doing the same things. My friends like doing the same things. So for us, partying and staying out late at night is not fun. Going for a cycle ride in the morning or going to the range to shoot is more fun.
So
and that's what we like to do.
Yeah. So you're trying to say that you have to build, as we say that, you actually become the 5 people you spend your time with.
Absolutely.
So you're saying that if somebody is really serious about their fitness, then you have to kind of build those friendships where...
Yes. You have to have the whole fitness ecosystem.
Yeah.
You cannot be eating mounds of rubbish and not training and then saying, I want to be fit. So your diet has to be such. Your lifestyle has to be such. Your sleeping is very important. You cannot sleep at 2 in the morning, get up at 5 and go for a cycle ride. You have no energy. You have to sleep that 7 or 8 hours every day. And people, they compromise on their sleep, which I think is a big problem. If you don't get to sleep enough at night, take a nap in the daytime. But you have to catch up on your sleep because if you don't sleep well enough, you're not going to recover and you can't put that effort into your job or into your training.
What is the real number of hours that one should be aiming at for, sleeping? Sleep time should be like perfect because there are too many theories around it. Somebody would say, 4 hours is good, 6 hours is good. What is that ideal, perfect time? Realistic
So
time?
for me, it's about 6.5 to 7 hours. I can never sleep 8 hours. My eyes are just open. But a lot of people like to sleep 8 hours and it's the amount that gets you refreshed.
Yeah.
So there's no real one prescription. Like we say, put this eye drop and your redness in the eye will go away. It's not like that. So some people are very good with 6 hours. I know plenty of people who sleep 6 hours a night and are perfectly fit and healthy. But it's proven conclusively in many, many studies that if you don't sleep enough, your body produces stress hormones.
Correct.
It's constantly under stress.
Yeah.
And that's where disease gets a chance to attack you. So sleep is a very important and underrated component of fitness. That's why when a person is very stressed out and they can't sleep, they fall ill because the immune system takes a dive at that point.
True. let's talk about the kitchen habits that you have. Now, I know it's not easy to build muscles.
You know, kitchen habits are very important. They say that abs are made in the kitchen and not in the gym. Because if you're going to eat 4 pieces of barfi and chocolate cake and then go to the gym and hope to burn off 4,000 calories, it's not going to realistically happen unless you're a Navy SEAL or you're an Olympic swimmer and the whole day is spent training or in the pool. So for the rest of us that actually have a real job, in which you have to do something else besides physical activity, and all of us have a desk job. Being a surgeon or a doctor is not a physically active job. You're sitting on a chair, you're sitting in a chair and doing surgery. So you have to decide what goes in your mouth. You can certainly decide that. You may not have 4 hours a day to train, but you can certainly decide what goes inside your body.
Doc, let's talk about your kitchen habits. What do you put into your body?
So I'm basically a non-vegetarian, which means that we have more of a chicken-based diet and a meat-based diet than vegetables. But I don't eat that many fats because I don't really like it. It upsets my stomach. And we don't eat too many carbohydrates. You just need enough carbohydrates to fuel your workout and your lifestyle. But overdoing the carbohydrates and eating simple sugars will just make you fat.
I see something here. I think this is to be shown to everyone, guys. This was at when he turned 50, and I would love to know the story. One day, Dr. Cyres Mehta decided that I need 8, not 6. That's what he told me. I need 8-pack abs. How did this happen? You were obese as a child.
No, I was never obese as a child. I was always into fitness as a child.
Really?
I trained in a gym from the time I was 9 years old. I wanted to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I had a bullworker at home. And I went to a shop called Alpha Sports at Metro Cinema, one of the few sport shops in the city. And I bought a 10-pound and a 15-pound dumbbell. So I used to come back from school. I would do the bullworker, which was basically graded isometrics. And then I would do lots of exercises with my 10 and 15-pound dumbbell, which I learned from Arnold Schwarzenegger's autobiography. I read that book cover to cover in the 7th standard, and I said, I want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. As you see, it didn't happen, and I became a surgeon instead. But those fitness habits stay with you forever. What happened when I went to medical school is what the diet became unregulated. You ate when you could, you studied the whole day, and this went on for nearly 8 or 10 years. With the result that I kind of inflated from the high carbohydrate intake. And then career took precedence over everything else. You want to be the best at your job, you want to be the best surgeon that you can be, so you can deliver the best results to your patients who come to you. Fitness was really on the back burner until COVID hit. So I realized that, Cyres, you become grossly obese, you're 95 kilos. You can't be telling patients to be fit and looking like a blob yourself. So I said that in 6 months, I will get an 8-pack. Because everyone has a 6-pack, so that's kind of commonplace. So you have to do something a little out of the ordinary. So I decided to get an 8-pack. So I worked towards it. And in 6 months, I could achieve this. And this was my 50th birthday present to myself. So it's very achievable.
So let's decode this, because I think, you know what, the fitness thing is the fitness happens in the mind. You're ready in your mind that I want to be fit. Then you go to a gym maybe. And between these two is when you fix your kitchen. What are you going to put inside your body when you are on the regime of fitness? I want you to reflect back on, I don't think it is that easy. Is it that easy to one day look at yourself and say, hey, you are obese and you need 8 packs? What was the process like? How many days?
See,
was it a process?
Yeah, the advantage was that I had the time. So during the coronavirus pandemic, we had 2 lockdowns back to back. So that gave me 4 or 5 months of uninterrupted time. And I have a home gym to train in, which is a great advantage. You couldn't go to the gyms. Everything was closed. The police wouldn't let you run on the road and stuff like that. So I would train on my indoor trainer. I had an indoor cycling trainer, indoor treadmill. And I had a whole customized home gym which I had set up but never used. So I put that to good use, and I was training 4 hours a day. I was eating a properly regimented diet which I figured out for myself. And that's the advantage of being a doctor, is that you know what to eat and you know what to do. And I can tell you that most of the public knows what to do. If you ask some guy who's really fat, okay, know what went wrong, he said, "Main bahut khate rehta hu." So everybody knows why they are fat, but nobody wants to make that change. If you make that change, if you turn that switch in your head, you can do it. It's just a mindset. And as I said earlier, you have to decide what you're going to do this year.
Correct.
And at the end of the year, you have to see, what you decided to do, and what's your report card at the end. So that year, 2021, had a very good report card where I got myself an 8-pack.
It took you how many months?
It took me a full 6 months because Corona hit and we went into lockdown in March.
Yeah.
And my birthday is in September.
You achieved it on your birthday,
Yeah.
before your birthday?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That is commendable, I would say. Doc, so it took you what, 6-7 months to build that 8 packs?
About 6-7 months, yes, you're right.
And then how many months then? Were you writing simultaneously this book, or how did it happen?
So basically, if you look at this book, it says Cyres, and look at the font, the education of an ophthalmologist. If you Google Arnold Schwarzenegger's autobiography, it's the same font. It's Arnold, the education of a bodybuilder. So that book had such a profound influence on my life that I decided that when I write my autobiography, it's going to look exactly the same. And there was Arnold posing on the cover, and that's why this book has me posing on the cover. So this is like a take on Arnold's autobiography. Everyone has a story to tell.
Yeah.
All of us. But most of us never take the trouble to tell it. And becoming a doctor is a long and tedious process.
Yeah.
You have challenges, personal and professional, in your life. So I thought I'll document all of this, including my fitness journey. And I'm going to open this page. And this was Arnold's education of a bodybuilder. If you notice, the font and everything is the same. Of course, there's Arnold there, not me. If you look in the book at the transformation,
Yeah.
and a lot of other stuff that I've written about, this was me before,
Wow. This is 2020.
yeah. And this was me 6 months hence,
Unbelievable.
yeah. So it
It's
is,
a lot of hard work.
yeah, it's a lot of hard work and it's time consuming as well. That's me cycling. I'm also like a semi-professional cyclist now because nothing that is better cardio than cycling. And cardio is very important for longevity
So would you suggest
and heart
people
health.
who are not into fitness at all to be doing something? How do they get onto the habit of doing something with their bodies and leave sedentary lifestyles?
So I had trained for many years. So for me, it was very easy to pick up the loose ends and start again.
Yeah.
I knew everything. I knew what to do, what to eat, how
Yeah.
to train, how many hours to train, which the average person doesn't know.
Correct.
So if they just enter some intensive training program, suddenly they're going to get injured or fall ill.
Correct.
So they have to go to a professor of nutrition or to a nutrition professional, I mean. And you have to go to a proper exercise coach, to a proper gym, and they will give you a proper plan. And
Yeah.
this plan you have to follow. Problem is that everyone gives you the plan, they tell you the diet, but no one does the diet and no one follows the plan.
That is exactly the point. How do you build that mindset where you are not giving in to the Rashamullas in front of you? How do you
Yeah.
build that mindset?
So
Strong.
there's a very nice movie which I saw many years ago with Sylvester Stallone in it called Over the Top. And Sylvester Stallone was a professional arm wrestler. And I was an arm wrestler in college as well. So that movie was very significant for me. So he was like a normal guy and used to wear a cap like this. And before the match, he would turn the cap around behind. It was like turning a switch. So you have to learn to turn that switch in your head.
Very well said. So who is Cyres Mehta, Dr. Cyres Mehta, when he is not in the OT? How would you define your life?
So I'm basically a family man. I like to play with my kids and my pet dog. I like to cycle. I like to shoot because I was shooting even as a kid. And these are the things that you end up doing. The same person you are as a child is the same person you're going to be as an adult and as an old individual. You're not going to suddenly reinvent yourself and become something completely different. I'm exactly the same person that I was when I was 12 years old. It's just that I have more access
Yeah.
to pursue the hobbies that I like and to do things on my own terms.
So you are doctor, cyclist, shooter, writer,
Bodybuilder.
bodybuilder. What am I missing?
I think that's
Ironman. Oh my God.
that's
Of
comprehensive.
course.
I think that's enough.
So there's a lot of fitness which is happening here.
Yeah.
I would want to deep dive into your expertise and your subject of the eyes once we move into the studio. But to wrap up this segment with you, which is about fitness, because you're so much into it and it's so inspirational to be looking at you, you know, the way you look. And I think every 40 plus, 50 plus should be looking at you and seeing that, yes, it is achievable if a doctor can do it, because we know doctors' lives to be very, very busy. And of course, you have seen your schedules. When you are not in OT, what is that one thing, 2-3 thoughts that always cross your mind when you're not in OT? Or let me rephrase my question. Has the fitness been helpful in you in your profession? Has it helped you?
Absolutely. Being fit, you can work longer hours, you can think more clearly, you don't get tired. When you do 20 surgeries back to back, earlier surgery 15 or 18 would take you longer and you're actually physically tired. But when you're physically fit, 20 surgeries go by like a breeze.
20 surgeries in a day. That's a lot to do. If you were to give one fitness, that people should take as absolute key takeaway, for the beginners, starters, 5 things anybody should start to get onto the fitness regime.
Start small, be consistent, decide exactly what you're going to eat, allocate enough time for training, and sleep right. So these are the 5 things that you should do as a beginner. And these are the same 5 things that you will do when you're in the Olympics.
The degrees may change.
Yeah.
We have something very interesting that I was able to fetch from your office. And we are not moving into the studio before talking about this. Doc, which one is this? What's the story behind this medal?
So this is the Ironman finisher medal. So you got to finish the Ironman in a prescribed time period. And then they give you this medal and this t-shirt which I'm wearing today. So this is very special. And it says Ironman 70.3 relay finisher, cycling 90 kilometers.
Wow. Let's move on to this one now. Which one is this?
So this is the medal I got for shooting the Maharashtra State Championship, what is called the Captain Ezekiel Memorial Maharashtra State Shooting Championship. And in my event, I was awarded the gold medal. So in a journey of a shooter, you have to first qualify in the state championships, and then only you can shoot the India Open. Show me this one.
When did you start shooting?
I started shooting professionally a year ago.
That's it.
Yeah. So I started training professionally in February, and in June was the state championship.
Wow. And which one is this? The biggest one?
So this is the India Open Gold, which I won in Goa in September.
Wow.
So you have to shoot the India Open and qualify after the state championship. Then only you can go shoot the nationals. So shooting the nationals is the holy grail for shooters in India. Because then you want to be what is called renowned shooter of India.
Yeah.
And the government gives you a certificate, and the National Rifle Association gives you a certificate saying that you're a renowned shooter of India. And the government has very wisely, to promote shooting in India,
Correct.
ensured that renowned shooters have certain privileges. So we are allowed up to 10 shooting licenses. So we can get the different weapons to practice with, and up to 100,000 rounds of ammunition, which a private citizen cannot. So you have to become a renowned shooter by winning or by scoring in these championships. And then the government gives you this privilege.
Great, Doc. Let's move into the studio now to understand how people can build better eyes, how kids in India could have better eye health. And let's talk everything about what you do for people to become healthy with eyes. Let's move in.
Doc, welcome to the PVT Show back again. Now we are from the gym floor straight in our studio. And this conversation is completely focused on what your core expertise of work is. I really want you to be telling and removing all the myths related to eye surgeries, what happens with our eyes, how can we keep our from bodily health to now specific eye health. I want to start this conversation by citing a research that I was going through. Recent studies indicate a significant rise in myopia, nearsightedness, among Indian children. And the prevalence of myopia in urban children aged 5 to 15 years increased from 4.44% in 1999 to 21.15% in 2019, which was just before COVID. So projections suggest that this figure could reach 31.89 by 2030, 40 by 2040, and alarmingly 48.14% by 2050. This means that nearly 1 in 2 children in urban India will have this disease called myopia. What's your take on this?
The statistics that you're reading are absolutely correct. See, 20 years ago, if you went to school and looked at the kids in grade 1 and grade 2, maybe 3 or 4 out of a class of 30 would have spectacles. Today, when you go to the same class, 15 out of 30 are wearing glasses. And why is that? Kids start on a mobile phone very early today, on digital devices very early. In order to distract them, the child is less troublesome, eats their food fast. They give that mobile phone in the hand, child keeps seeing that video, cartoons. but then the eye becomes near adapted. And myopia is nothing but an adaptation to seeing close by. If kids instead went out to play instead of playing on video games and sitting with the phone all day at home, this myopia epidemic would have never occurred. So this all has been triggered in India at the time of the corona pandemic, when millions of children were forced to sit at home, do their classes on the mobile phone or the laptop, and then the whole day was on the laptop. They were not allowed to go out and play. And this has the worst effect on young eyes. So the eyes start getting used to looking up close, and that's why they develop a minus number. It's an adaptation.
I agree. Doc, the reason you wanted to be an eye doctor?
So I can remember ever since I was in maybe first or I would say second grade, I wanted to be an eye surgeon. My dad's a very famous eye surgeon of India, awarded Padma Shri by the government of India. And this was a great motivating factor. Our clinic was actually part of the flat that we lived in because we started really small. We didn't have anything, and Dad had integrated the clinic into part of the flat that we lived in. I used to see the patients coming and going and how grateful they were. And I thought, this is a great job. Everyone's really happy after this. And it looks like they really love him. So I think I'm going to do this job.
Really? That's what
Yeah.
inspired you to be?
Absolutely. Also, I was brainwashed properly by my grandfather, who I grew up with, that you have to be an eye surgeon only. So when you give the child this thought from an early age, after some time the child grows up thinking that this is their own original thought. That is called brainwashing, and it was very effectively done.
Good for you, right?
Yeah.
But is it good or bad?
I think it's very good. I see a lot of my colleagues' children who have no direction. One year they're doing something, the next year they're doing something else, the third year doing something else. So a child without direction or without a plan as to what they want to be is like a ship sailing in the sea with no rudder. One day it's going here, one day it's going there. It doesn't go to any definite place.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right. And of course, when the child grows up, the decision belongs to the child whether they want to continue with
Absolutely.
what they have been brainwashed to do, or they want to do
Yeah, but I
something
always
else.
wanted to be an eye surgeon.
And
This
how
is certain.
How this profession has been for you as a human being. How do you feel?
I really like to be an eye doctor. I can't wait to go to work every day because unlike maybe other medical specialties like oncosurgery and where some of the patients don't survive and it's quite a sad scene sometimes, generally with eye surgery everyone's happy. You can cure most of the people who come to you and restore their sight. And they are really grateful, they're really happy about it, and that gives you a sense of fulfillment. You sleep better at night.
Sure. What is your thought on how we can increase or better the eye health now that we know the problem statement?
First of all, don't give the child the habit of the mobile phone. They have no need to have a mobile phone. Until they are in the 8th or 9th grade, why should a child have a mobile phone except to play games? Does he have some very important work schedule? No, they don't. But parents have this bad habit of bending and giving them that mobile phone due to peer pressure. Other children have, my son also wants one, he must get one. Then you are laying the groundwork for myopia to develop and for the eyes to become weaker as they age. First of all, remove that mobile phone from the child's life. They don't need it. Children should be going out to play sports in wide open spaces. Then the chance of developing these eye diseases like myopia will be much less.
Sure. What is your opinion on floaters, flashes, and sudden vision blurs? What should people know and do immediately?
So when you have one or two floaters, let me elaborate. Floaters are basically when a person says they're seeing something black floating around in front of the eye. This is very common, especially in people with some minus number. It's nothing to be alarmed about. Most of the time floaters are harmless. But if suddenly you see lots of floaters that weren't there before, if you see flashes of light which looks like a Diwali sparkler, if you suddenly see that one part of the vision is getting blurred, go to your eye doctor or ophthalmologist immediately. Chances are you have developed a retinal hole or tear and a retina detachment. So this is an emergency where you must go the next day itself or maybe on the same day to your eye doctor for it to be treated.
Sure. Doc, what is your exact understanding and view on how the eye health? Do you think Indians really ignore eye from health perspective?
I think that Indians generally ignore health overall. So eye health is just one more component. I see so many patients who are diabetic, where the diabetes has been uncontrolled for 20 years and it's taken a toll on the eyes. There's blood inside the eyes. The vision is permanently reduced. So in diseases, lifestyle diseases and metabolic diseases like diabetes, the eyes suffer terribly. So Indians must really take charge of their health, control their diabetes, and focus on their eye health.
Sure. From this perspective, does wearing glasses make your eyes weaker? Is it a myth or it is real?
This is a complete myth. Wearing glasses or not wearing glasses doesn't make your eyes weaker. Of course, not wearing glasses in certain cases can make your eyes weaker, but by and large, wearing or not wearing glasses has got nothing to do with the weakening of the eyes in adulthood.
How do you see the lifespan of an eye? Like from a child to an adult? What is it that we need to know?
So the eyes are one of the special senses like hearing. And as people grow older, all their special senses start to get dulled. So most often people are in the late 80s, early 90s. They may not be able to hear properly, but they still need to see.
Yeah.
So the eyes are the last thing to go, because a human being or any living creature without their eyes becomes helpless.
Sure.
They cannot see. So the eyes should last the lifespan of the person.
And what do you think are the 5 top myths that people don't know about eye health?
Let's start with the first one. Always wear dark glasses in sun.
Okay.
This is very important. Today we have depleted the ozone layer. We've got lots of UV light coming in. A lot of the eye diseases are caused by the UV light. So you must wear the glasses. Number one. Number two, go every year to your eye doctor and check your eye pressure, because eye pressure is something that you cannot figure out by yourself and you can't check at home. That's the second thing. Once again, always check if you're developing a spectacle number so your eyes don't get strained. Not wearing the glasses won't necessarily hurt you, but you'll get a lot of eye strain and headache. Your work will suffer. The fourth thing is, don't be stuck in front of a screen all day. Take frequent breaks. So if you're stuck in front of a screen, you're trading all day, etc., every 30-40 minutes, look away for 5 minutes. So these are the important things, and control your overall body health. If you have diabetes, make sure it's well in control, because it affects the eye quite badly.
What is the relation of eye health and high blood pressure? Are they related?
High blood pressure is absolutely related to the eye. When you have very high blood pressure, fluid can develop in the retina of the eye and the optic nerve can be affected and your vision can permanently reduce. So blood pressure and diabetes must always be controlled.
Sure. If I were to request you to give us a blueprint to keep the eyes, is it possible to not wear like me, this I got during COVID?
Yeah, come to me, I'll remove your glasses. This is what I do for a living. And it's very simple. Once you're over the age of 18 or 19, your number is relatively stable. A simple laser procedure called SMILE, which is non-invasive, will in 30 seconds remove your spectacle number. There's no cut. Vision recovers in 24 hours, you're back to work. Once you're over 45, 47, and you just don't want to wear reading glasses, I notice you're stuck with them. You can't really read your questions properly without your glasses. We can easily put a lens implant in the eye and make you spectacle free. And this is popular worldwide. We are doing millions of surgeries worldwide for this. So this is a public health problem where a person after the age of 47 or 48 just can't see up close without their glasses.
Right.
And the companies have come out with new technologies for this, new designs of lenses that we implant. The surgery is done by a robotic laser system. Once again, it takes less than a minute to do and it's absolutely safe.
Now let me ask you a very difficult question, if you're ready for it. There are hundreds of videos floating on YouTube talking about Ayurvedic medicines and drops. Homeopathic drops are also there in the market where you can just use them and absolutely harmless, and it will avoid you from going through the pain of all these surgeries and the investment that comes with that. What's your view on it?
If that were true, all the hospitals would have shut down. So yes, I'm sure that Ayurveda has cure for certain diseases, and I'm not an Ayurved, so I can't really comment whether it works or not. But will putting Ayurvedic or homeopathic drops cure your cataract? No, they will not. Will it cure your glaucoma? No, they will not. So once you have eye disease and it's been diagnosed, please follow the correct treatment from your eye doctor. I'm sure that Ayurveda and homeopathy has great curative and preventive properties. I'm not really well aware of it because I'm not well versed in this subject, so I won't comment on that at all. But once you have a disease which only has a surgical cure, you cannot put eye drops to fix it.
Sure. Glaucoma and eye pressure. What is the relation and what could be a preventive cure if possible?
glaucoma has become a public health problem in India. Statistics show that 7 to 9% of the population will at some time or the other develop glaucoma. Imagine a country which is approaching 200 million people in a few years. 9% means that 18 million people are going to have glaucoma. So this is a huge public health problem which is looming at us. So much so the government of India has taken out certain programs for this, awareness programs. The only way to find out if you have glaucoma is to go to your eye doctor who will check your eye pressure and look inside your eye. So the eye pressure has to be elevated. It has to affect your peripheral or side vision a little bit. And the optic nerve inside the eye has to show signs of that eye pressure affecting it. Then you are termed as glaucoma. Just having elevated eye pressure is not glaucoma. It's ocular hypertension or eye pressure going up. But most cases where the eye pressure is up will develop glaucoma. So we use eye pressure as a single point reference. We just check the eye pressure and then we prescribe certain eye drops or we do a laser treatment and reduce the eye pressure. This is very important.
Is there any preventive measure to not develop this situation?
No, glaucoma is a genetic disease and if your genes say that you will develop glaucoma, you will develop it. Of course, once again, if you have disorders like untreated cataract or diabetes, you will develop glaucoma sooner.
How does one understand this? By doing some test? For example, let's take my example. Whether I will develop it or no, how would I know? Is there
You
a
will
test
not,
for it?
no, there's no test to develop to say that
Whether I
Poonam
will
is
get
going
it
to
or not?
develop glaucoma tomorrow. However, by looking inside the eye, by looking at the shape of the eye and taking certain measurements and checking the eye pressure, we can tell you with certainty that definitely in the next 5 years or 10 years you won't develop any glaucoma.
Sure.
But it's very difficult to say that will you develop at the age of 70 or 80 because the incidence of this disease goes up with every decade.
Sure. What's your view on blue light screens and eye strain? How can we...
So I think this whole drama about the blue light affecting the eyes is a bit overhyped.
Okay.
I don't personally wear any blue light blocker when I'm using my screen, so I don't prescribe it to anyone.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a big thing, you know.
Yeah, I think
It's the next
it's
big
good
thing.
marketing.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're saying that blue eye blocker and stuff is
Humbug.
nothing to do. Okay. What are the 5 top myths in your profession that you have seen people selling? You have to be honest and absolutely vocal about it, Doc. In the eye industry, top 5 myths. Any myths? Any myths that you come across? Like, you must have seen how many? I don't think so. Anywhere less than 50, 60,
You know, they
1
say
lakh
that,
eyes.
yeah, so I must have seen more than a few lakh eyes by now.
Wow.
And people come out with all kinds of old wives' tales like by eating carrots, your vision will improve. Maybe if you have vitamin A deficiency, by eating carrots, your night vision will improve. But today with our diets and supplements and stuff we take, nobody really has vitamin A deficiency. You can say that, the rabbits don't wear specs because they're eating carrots. But then the cow also doesn't wear specs. You can eat grass also. So that doesn't really make much sense.
Really?
This is one of the most famous myths that we come across. That, shall I drink a glass of carrot juice today? And will my vision
Spinach.
improve?
Eating spinach?
Yeah, eating spinach may give you biceps like Popeye, but I don't think that's going to really improve your eyes.
So what are the top... Okay, let me ask it this way. What are the top 3-4 funny questions you have like this? Your patients have told you.
No
Any
idea.
other myths around in the industry that you see? Do you see really,
One of the most common myths that I used to come across was wearing contact lenses will prevent your eye number from going up.
Yeah.
So all the parents would rush with their young daughter especially to the optometrist nearby and, they would make them wear contact lenses. And of course, wearing contact lenses does not make your spectacle number stop going up. That's one of the myths, along with a glass of carrot juice.
what would be the 3 top warning signs people should not ignore for their health?
If you're constantly seeing blurred, or if you're constantly getting a frontal headache, that means this part of the head is hurting all the time. It could be that your eye pressure is going up or you've developed a spectacle number. This is the right time to go see your eye doctor. In any case, just like you go for a regular checkup once in a year, once in 2 years, you must go to an eye doctor as part of that regular checkup Today, when you do a health panel in any of the big hospitals, an eye checkup is part of it, and that's absolutely right.
If someone wants to protect their eyes for life, what is it that they should really do?
So there's nothing really in our hands to protect the eyes. Of course, you must protect them against UV light. Make sure they don't get mechanically damaged. Wear eye protection while playing sports. Or if you're in a work environment where there's a lot of infrared or UV light, you have to wear the correct protective glasses. Otherwise, there's nothing much that we can do. If you have to take care of your own health, you shouldn't develop diabetes. If you have diabetes, it should be controlled. All this leads to eye problems.
So this is little paradoxical because there are several theories, doctors, that
Such as?
yeah. So one would be near eye theory. There is outside theory, and then there is a genetic theory, which is the genetically you would be wearing glasses.
So most of the diseases that we have are all genetic.
Really?
Yeah.
Most.
So what will happen is in future gene therapy will come, maybe not 5 years or 10 years, maybe 20 years down the line. And most of the diseases will be eliminated because with the correct gene therapy, the disease itself will be eliminated from the body.
You have pioneered robotic cataract surgery in India. How has this changed the outcome for patients?
So, robotic cataract surgery is faster, more precise, and the eye recovers faster. So today, all surgery in the abdomen, for example, is done laparoscopically. You make small nicks and go in. And everyone knows the olden days when you had to make a big cut on the person's abdomen and they took a week or two, they were in hospital, they had pain. Today, after a laparoscopic surgery, people go home in a day or two. The smaller the cut, the faster the recovery. And the less amount of energy we use in the eye with ultrasound, the faster the eye recovers after cataract surgery. So using a laser to do cataract surgery is the modern way of doing things. Having said that, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's expensive to run and people don't have access to it in small towns and taluka places, etc. But yes, all the metros have eye surgeons now with lasers. There must be at least half a dozen lasers in Mumbai and the metropolitan area, and the number will only increase.
You have been very vocal about donation of eyes. Would you want to throw some light on your thoughts related to that?
So we have hundreds of thousands of people who are blind today because the cornea or the clear front window of the eye has become opaque. So light cannot penetrate it. That's why the person can't see. So they're needlessly blind. The problem in India is that we don't have a structured eye donation program in every city. Some cities like Hyderabad have this with the collaboration of the government. But here I don't think we have that, and we need to implement this on a war footing. I'm sure there are enough people dying in the country considering our huge population rate. But why are they not donating the eyes? So everybody has some religious beliefs and myths and all. And in this country, it's very important to take all that into consideration also.
Right.
So if we counsel them that yes, donating the eyes, the religious leaders counsel them that you must donate your eyes, then they will all do it. And the backlog of eye donation will be cured. And the
What is
people
the-
who are needlessly blind will be seeing again.
Absolutely. What is the current number? Like if for example, everybody tomorrow decides that yes, I will
Then there will be
donate.
no backlog anymore, and everybody who's corneally blind will be seeing again because we won't have any shortage of eyes. Right now, there's a huge shortage of eyes.
Isn't this the most wonderful thing a human being should do?
Yeah, I think so. And many people have done this. And, Aishwarya Rai had come on TV and said, donate your eyes. And many celebrities have done it. But eventually, donating the eyes is a very personal issue.
Yeah.
And remember that I might sign a form saying that I'll donate my eyes. But when I'm dead, who's there to ensure I can't come back and say that now take my eyes today? So the relatives or the next of kin
They
have to be
have to take
sensitized to this
responsibility.
fact. And they have to do this within 2 hours. So the eyes have to be donated within 2 to 3 hours, otherwise they get spoiled. So it's very important that the relatives at that time, even though they are grieving, they have to be proactive and call the neighborhood eye bank or hospital who will send the doctor and the team to retrieve the eyeballs.
What is the process? Say for example, if I want to, what do I need to do?
So you have to inform your relatives have to inform the neighborhood hospital or eye bank, and they will immediately send an ambulance with a team, and from the dead body the eyeballs will be harvested or taken away.
As alive, I want to say that I want to donate. What is the process?
The process is you have to fill up a form and give it to your local eye bank, which certifies you as an eye donor. The only problem is that the eye bank is not going to know the day that you are of your demise or time of your demise. Only your relatives will be knowing.
Yeah. Okay, so that coordination and communication needs to be done
Yeah.
with the hospital
Yeah.
precisely. Sure. Near work theory. This is being lot spoken about, that academic children have more problems with respect to eyes, and non-academic, for example, the clear-cut comparison that happens is with people in army. They wear less of spectacles because they are more in the sun, but then if you're more exposed to sun, then there is UV impacting your eyes again. So how do we understand the maths here? How much should you be out? How much should you not be out? And near work theory is real. If you're using if I am reading a lot in a day, academically also and otherwise also for pleasure, if my reading is more, am I going to be impacting my eyes more?
So it really depends how old you are. If you're a 16, 18, 20-year-old individual and you subject the eyes to constant near point activity, that means you're studying the whole day.
Yeah.
When you're not studying, you're playing on your iPad or using your phone or laptop, you will develop a minus number. And if you have a minus number, this number will continue to go up slowly and incrementally. However, once you cross 40, the opposite happens. And whether you read or you don't read, you're going to develop a near number. Because the human lens inside the eye becomes stiff and won't change its shape anymore in the process called accommodation. So after we are 40, we lose accommodation and we are unable to see up close anymore. So this is independent of how much you read. Everybody will have the same amount of loss of accommodation.
Right.
Coming to your parallel about people in the army, etc. Well, if they are outdoors in wide open spaces, the chance of the minus number going up is less. Also, remember when you join the army, you don't have a number. They don't take people who are unfit from the beginning. So there are less people in the army with a minus number, and once you join the army, your job is to serve, and there are a lot of physical activities. It's not so much to read books and sit in the library.
Absolutely.
So your chance of developing minus number is definitely going to be less, for example, as compared to a chartered accountant.
Would it help children to be more in the sun?
It will help children to be more in wide open spaces so that peripheral light beams can hit the eye. So the same children growing up, for say in Australia, will develop no minus number because they are playing in wide open spaces as compared to children growing up in a metropolitan city in China where there are big tall buildings and no peripheral rays of light hitting the eyes. This is what the research shows.
Sure. What is the solution for children who are in the urban cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad?
Well, they can't shift to Australia. So the more they play outside and the less they play on the phone, the better for them.
You said it. What's outdoor theory? Is it what we are talking is outdoor theory?
That's basically what it is. The more time you spend outdoors and away from the mobile phone and your gadgets, the less chance your minus number has of developing or increasing.
Right. What's the real deal on LASIK and smile surgeries?
Real deal?
What I mean to say is, yeah,
Does it
that's
work?
a real deal.
Yeah.
Yes, does
So,
it work?
laser vision correction is nothing new and it's going on from the early 90s. And I've been an eye surgeon for most of that time. So we've seen the evolution and we've been part of it. Eye surgery, number correction surgery started with LASIK, which meant that you cut a layer or a flap on the surface of the eye, either with a blade and nowadays with a laser beam. And then you lift that layer up and then you reshape the cornea with another laser beam. So this is called bladeless LASIK or regular LASIK. And many companies give it all different fancy names, but basically the same thing. You've cut a flap. Because you cut a flap, you are causing many, many tiny nerve endings to be cut. So the eye becomes dry after the procedure for a while. Sometimes it recovers and sometimes it doesn't recover so well, and which is why you hear of cases after LASIK where they're constantly putting artificial tears. Another problem is that treatment area, the zone is not wide enough sometimes in an effort to save the corneal tissue. So you get glare at night. So LASIK had these two basic issues, glare at night and dryness. So in about 2012, 2014, Smile arrived in the market from a German company called Cyres. And they found that if you don't cut a flap, you cut a lot less nerve endings. So this surgery is minimally invasive. And instead of having a large cut like this, you have a small tunnel which is 2 millimeters, which heals in 1 day. So after LASIK, you cannot have a shower for 7 days. You cannot put water in the eyes or rub the eyes. But after Smile, you can go swim in 1 day because the 2 millimeter tunnel heals instantly. So Smile is modern age or new age laser vision correction without a big cut.
Sure.
And the world is moving towards this. All the companies making LASIK machines are now making Smile type machines.
When we talk about this number that 48.14% children would have, every second child in India, especially in the urban cities, would
It's going
have
to happen.
Really?
You
Is
can be
there
sure
any
of
way
it.
to mitigate this risk?
No, because our reliance on gadgets is only increasing. Children only have to study more and not less. Academic pressure is only going to increase.
Is there a way out?
There is a way out if children stop using a mobile phone or stop having to study 8 hours a day. But I don't see that happening in the near future. The mobile phone is not going to go anywhere. And I see children younger and younger playing on the phone the whole day. And academic pressure is only increasing, not decreasing. So children are going to be using near point activity all the time. All the classes are now online. Everything is in YouTube videos. So what's the chance of myopia reducing? I don't think so. There are many new options on the market like myopia controlled spectacles, which basically have a clear center and the peripheral part of the spectacle lens is a little blurred. It gives blurred vision to the patient. But all the children don't accept that. I'll give you an example. My kid who's in the 8th grade refused to wear the myopia control glasses. He said, I can't see properly through it. So some of these solutions are not really practical. What parents can do is ensure that children go out to play more than having to be stuck on their phone or their iPad the whole day.
Very rightly said. This also holds true for people like us who are working and constantly, like my work time and people in the corporate side would be easily 10 to 12 hours,
Yeah, but then if you're going to be stuck in front of a screen 10 to 12 hours, you have to learn to look into the distance out of a window every 30 to 40 minutes for like 5 minutes to relax the muscles inside the eye.
How do we take preventive care for eyes, people who are working and in the corporate side?
As I said before, take frequent breaks every half an hour or every 40 minutes and look into the distance for 5 minutes so you're not on that computer screen. Don't use that break to play with your phone. Use the break to look out of the window into the distance. This is very important. Also, the lighting should be adequate. Most of the corporate environments have that very harsh LED light in an effort to make it look more like, a company space. And sometimes that's not really very good for us. The very harsh lights hurt the eyes. The computer screens are also throwing out a lot of light. And at the end of the day, the eyes get dry and tired, and then you have to lubricate them. You have to use a over-the-counter lubricant eye drops. There's so many different brands. I won't name them, but you can just get them over the counter and you can use them. That will also help.
It's fine to use them. There's no prescription required for it.
No.
It's healthy because your screen time is so much more.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. This really helps, Doc. Your biography, Cyres, the education of an ophthalmologist, is raw and personal. What parts of your journey were toughest to relive?
So, it was a fun journey actually, but I'll tell you, there were a few parts that were a little challenging. One was my transformation, which I managed to do in 6 months because I set my mind on it. It was hard, but I got it done. And another one was when in 2002, I had a brief flirtation with cancer, which I luckily caught early and fixed right in the early stage. So it brings all those traumatic memories back. But it's an important story to tell, the importance of early diagnosis and cure, which people can learn from. If you chalao the problem too much now, it may become bad and incurable. But most diseases, if caught early, are curable in the early stage. And this is the point I wanted to bring across, which is why I wrote about it.
That's wonderful. And then the other book, which is right now I'm holding, The Sight Guide. This is also an amazing book. And this is for everyone. It's not just for doctors. So what was it? Why it was so important to write a book for public on eye health?
So basically, this is the Sight Guide. And it's about 200 odd pages of all the questions that people have asked me in my medical practice over the last 25 years. And you will be surprised that people ask the same questions. When a person comes with a cataract or with glaucoma or wants their spectacle number removed, they ask you the same questions, they have the same concerns. So I've written a very simple and informative book which anyone can buy from Amazon.in. And it answers all these questions. How fast will my eye recover? What's the technology you're using? What's the difference between a trifocal lens or a monofocal lens? What is the difference between LASIK and SMILE? What are the good things to eat so that your eyes remain healthy? The different vitamins, their roles on the eye. What is myopia, how we can prevent it getting worse, what is squint, how do we treat it, and so many other questions. There are more than 300 questions and answers in this book, and I think this will go a long way to dispel people's doubts.
Sure. I think this is really going to help. So we have the book ready for people to pick up. and get the knowledge that they want. What is happening in the medical industry, Doc? My parting, last, concluding question from you. Are there new innovations that are happening? What do you see happening in the world globally?
Every day there are new innovations happening. I see gene therapy arriving very soon, and some of the eye diseases that we could not treat effectively will be curable with gene therapy, because most of the eye diseases we have are genetic based. Also, the treatment of diseases like cataract will get more robotized, and I see in 10 to 15 years that the surgeon might even be replaced for certain eye diseases, and the machine will do everything by itself. Today, part of the procedure of laser vision correction and part of the procedure of cataract surgery, we are already doing with a surgical laser system, which acts semi-robotically and decides certain parameters using AI and the data we feed into it to do the surgery. But I see in 15 or 20 years, all this becoming completely automated. Then the question is, what will the surgeon do? So, but eventually we are humans, and we would not like to go ask a machine for a diagnosis and lie down underneath to be operated. You still need that human being to be around in case something goes wrong.
Right.
Just like one day I feel pilots in planes will be replaced by drones. I still think there'll be one human being in that cockpit to make sure that everything doesn't go sideways.
Absolutely. The brain has to be coming from the human. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Cyres. Is there anything you want to tell the world to keep their eyes healthy, like your personal tip that people should keep as a takeaway?
Wear dark glasses in the sun, control your metabolic diseases and your weight, and see your eye doctor every year.
Wonderful. This is your inspiration that I've just removed my glasses and I would be coming for my lenses now. Maybe.
Come to me, I'll remove them permanently.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.